we have a chant that we do at some of our meetings and some of our retreats, and it's I'm a kind-minded, open-hearted, bad motherfucker. And I'm a kind-minded, open-hearted, bad motherfucker. I'm a kind-minded, open-hearted, bad motherfucker. I'm a kind-minded, open-hearted, bad motherfucker. And these guys just like, and you can see the adrenaline, you can see the wild in their eyes. And then we bring it back.
Thank you, beloveds, for joining us for another episode of So Many Ways to Heal series as we explore resources in the realm of healing and wellness by interviewing experts in their fields. Join me as we explore ways of healing the body, mind, and soul to find wholeness, health, and vitality, and to reveal your authentic self. Be sure to like and subscribe and turn on the bell notifications so you don't miss an episode. And share this video with your soul tribe and spread healing through the world. You can find us at So Many Ways to Heal on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Remember, the best healing tools are love and gratitude. Sending my love and gratitude to you. I just want to say I'm so excited to have Ken on today. He is such a genius in his realm. He has such an instinctual understanding of how to work with our fires, of creating lasting connective change, and how to create this mixture of community and physicality and heart to really open ourselves up to becoming better versions of ourselves and to have that supportive network. He's come a long way since his degree in psychology and has just integrated so many various ways of understanding of how to be in the world to create this incredible flavor of men's group. I hope you really enjoyed this episode. I know I did. Sharing with my audience how excited I was to talk with you today. You have, the way I referred to you as a bit of a Renaissance man, because you have such a deep interest in so many various ways, and how you've compiled your work to create what it is really unique and really powerful. And you connect it through mind, body, and spirit. I mean, you really have this interconnected way of working with people.
I try to take a holistic approach to everything I do. You know, if I'm not engaging with your heart, your mind, and your body all simultaneously at all times, then it feels like there's something lacking, something missing. It feels like I'm only getting a part of you or only giving a part of me. Mm-hmm. And so that all-encompassing, all-in kind of connection.
Your primary focus is really the men's work.
Yeah.
And what does that mean? Like, not everybody knows what men's work is. And on top of not everybody knowing what men's work is, your men's work is very unique in the world of men's work.
People think of men's work, they think about like a bunch of men leaving their desk jobs and running out into the woods and ripping their clothes off and running around with sticks and ash on their bodies. Or I always get, I don't know what your audience level is. People are like, oh, it's a big circle jerk. And people, they make fun of it. They think we're a bunch of hooligans running off into the wilderness. They think like, oh, is it like a pyramid scheme? Like you join and you got to pay $5,000 and we'll, guarantee you that you're going to be a successful, thriving businessman in your community in 6 to 12 months time. Like,
well,
there are all these assumptions, and there are those.
There are those. There are assumptions, partly because those do exist.
Exactly. And I feel like what I'm doing, like, we don't have any tenets, we don't have any bylaws, we have no commandments. We have this one mantra, this one saying, this one set of words that we live by, and it's everything that the group is, and it's learn to grow to serve. I'm here to learn. I'm here to acknowledge and accept the fact that there's a lot that I don't know, and I have a lot of room for growth. And that humble acceptance is absolutely necessary, step one. Acknowledging that I'm here to learn and I'm excited to learn, that's my path to growth. Learning, accepting what we don't know, and getting excited and motivated to learn what we need to know. And being able to look at our brothers and the people around us, to their wisdom, to their magic, to the things that they've learned, and be humble enough to say, can you teach me? Or sometimes it's not even asking them to teach you, it's just sitting and watching.
Mm.
Watching a profound human being while they express their magic is absolutely amazing.
So
And
you really create space for that.
Yeah, we create space for that. And then the third component is, we're here to grow from our learning experience. And as we grow, as we expand as a group, as individuals, the next part is to serve. Learn to grow to serve. If you're not here with the end goal of serving your community, serving the people around you, not just the people whose names you know, who live under your roof, who share the same social circles, but the collective, like the planets. If you're not here to serve humanity, it's not the group for you. So what we're doing is different. We take this holistic approach of we're all in, all the time, mind, body, spirit. We're here to learn, to grow, to serve. And we do this in this experience that I call full spectrum humanity. And I lead these experiences. We talk about it constantly in the group. And my philosophy that really pushes and drives most of my work is this concept of being a full spectrum human, being able
love
to
that. The moment you said it, I just started
yeah,
going.
to embrace all aspects of the human experience. That you don't have to put yourself in a little box in a corner, or you don't have to find a part of the spectrum that you really like or that fits you well, or that the people in your world are comfortable with you being in. You get to explore the whole fucking spectrum. And the beauty of that is that there are days when I wake up and I don't know what kind of language you allow on this, but I wake up some days and I just said,
speak from your heart, brother.
I want to fuck, fight, and feast. And I wake up and I'm like a fucking lion crawling out of bed, and all I want to do all day long is like sink my teeth and my claws into things. And if that's like food, I'm fucking ravenous, and I just want to eat everything and I can't get enough. And I want to fight with my brothers and go outside and wrestle and like climb trees and split firewood and just like get into my body. And then if I have a partner or someone that I'm engaging with, it's just like, you better watch out because I'm coming full go for you, and like you can't run, you can't hide, I'm coming. And there's these days I wake up and I'm just ravenous for life.
Mm.
And I want to be in my inner primal animal. I want to be in my like deep embodied masculine. I want my body to just like be on fire.
Mm.
And there are days I wake up and I'm fucking tender.
Mm.
My heart is soft and I just need someone to hold me.
Mm.
And as a man, we get to sit somewhere in the middle, kind of leaning more towards the masculine, and that's what most of society is comfortable with. The deep fire masculine, that deep, earthy, fiery, primal, animalistic masculine, most people are not comfortable with. And society also haven't given us permission really as men yet to be the soft, tender, vulnerable, to say, I gotta be the little spoon tonight. I just need to be held because I'm feeling delicate and I'm feeling tender and I need someone to hold me. Mm-hmm. And we talk a lot about like being an anchor and a buoy in our group. To be that anchor, that thing that's deeply rooted, that can hold the group, that can hold our loved ones, the individuals in our lives, the people around us, deep in it. But then also, when are we going to be light? When can we float? When can we bring ourselves and people to the surface and just laugh and joke, be sweet and funny and jovial? And then again, when do we drop into the anchor? When do we bring things down, hold things down, and be that anchor that secures everything else around us? And so this full spectrum experience is really what drives this group, when it all started, like this journey into this. I mean, it's years of experiences. I grew up in a tiny town in Kansas where I was a football player and I could knock guys around. I'm a big guy, but like the moment I would start talking about jazz choir and how excited I was about my solo, they shut off. They're done. The moment I started talking about my feelings and like my sensitivities, they were done. But then when I was with my musician friends, my artistic friends, as soon as I would start talking about football, like, oh, I just knocked his head off yesterday, it was great, they would shut off. And I never felt like I had a home. Because the tender wasn't accepted by most and the tough wasn't accepted by most. And throughout life, I've been looking for men that could fully handle my tough and my tender. and everything in between. And when I moved to Denver, I was, Hawaii was great, but the men there are very tender, oftentimes not very tough. There were a lot of men on the tender spectrum, way more than I ever experienced, but they still weren't embodied into their body and their deep masculine.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's still a struggle, like, where are these men at? And I met a brother when I moved to Denver, and we were getting really close. I absolutely adore he and his wife. They're soulmates, both of them. Remember one night leaving their house, and like, I leaned forward, I'm going to give him a hug. I'm like, I fucking love you, man. And there's like a moment of hesitation. And in that moment, like, my old wiring, my old, programming came back and said, like, oh, come up with an excuse. You just told this guy you loved him and you're going for a hug. Like, that's weird. He's got a little more of a machismo vibe than you. Like, oh, pull back, pull back, pull back. And I just stopped for a second. I was like, no, I love you. I'm gonna stand on your porch until you look at me and you tell me you love me too and give me a hug. And there was this hesitation. He's like, yeah, I fucking love you, man. And it got comfortable for him. Over time, I just kept, I kept expressing more and more, not just love you, bro, but like, I fucking love you. I adore you. I love your heart, man. I love your soul. I love the father and the husband that you are. I respect you. And that kind of intimacy, that kind of connection, he had never experienced before, really. And I had never really been confident with expressing it. But we still wanted to go out and ride mountain bikes. We still want to go out in the backyard and box each other. We still want to go out, and his wife would be confused, like, why do you guys want to go hit each other? You love each other. I was like, because I do. I love him, I adore him, and I want to punch him in the face. And I think both are okay. And so it was like, what does this look like to be tough and tender? And not just for ourselves, but with other men. Mm-hmm. And so I started looking around in my life, and I was like, okay, who else do I know that might be into this? Mm-hmm. And talking to them. And it just started off coffee shops. Guys
just like people you meet?
Yeah. Or friends. I had a neighbor and a few other men that I knew. And I was like, I think you guys might dig this. I think men like us need to get together. And it was just coffee or hanging out, having a beer at first. And then I realized that wasn't, just talking wasn't enough. Like, I wanted to feel them. And I told them, I was like, I kind of want to box you guys and like wrestle. How do you guys feel about this? I'm like, yeah, it's great. So I started diving into, okay, what would that look like? Like, I don't want it to turn into just aggression. I don't want this to be guys just beating each other up and not having an intention behind it. So I came up with this concept of a ring. And now it's like one of our favorite practices for the brothers in the group, but I call it the ring. And it's just 20-foot ring, no striking, because that can turn things quickly. But aside from striking, you can push, throw, tackle, anything you can do to get the other man out of the ring. And we go until someone's out of the ring.
Wow. So it's like full-on battle.
Full-on battle with really no rules, just like a primal, whatever my body has to do to get you out, I will do it. But we started off with a Hawaiian warrior greeting. So we put out our hands, we lock forearms, we come in, and we just breathe. Our foreheads are touching, and we're sharing our ha. The Hawaiians believe that your life force, everything that is you, your mana, your power, your life force, your soul, resides in your breath. Aloha is to give of your ha. So we touch foreheads, we share that breath, and we step back. I love you. I respect you. I'm honored to be your brother. I'm honored to be standing before you. Whatever comes to you, whatever you feel. And sometimes it's just a look. I have brothers now that we don't have to speak anymore. The eyes can convey everything that we're feeling or needing to say. And then we go. And to go from deep reverence and respect for a brother, a tender expression of love and respect and appreciation, and then seconds later, it's an all-out brawl. And the second we're done, it's back to love. The second we're done, it's back to a hug. I fucking love you, a pat on the ass, whatever, and then we go again. We go, and we go, and we go, and we go, and we go until it's out. Wow. And so Everyone in the circle can just say, okay, I'm done, I'm complete, I got it out. And then we come into that same circle, we light our candles, and we sit. And usually it's a meditation, it's something that I'll lead, that I have the men come back into the body. That fire that we just created, that spark that we just created, that connection that we just had, we now, like, it's imprinted. When you reach a certain level of ecstasy or fire or rage or pleasure or joy, it imprints on our nervous system. You can go back there.
Right.
And I always convey to the men, like, this is the energy that you take to stand up to your boss. This is the energy that you take into the world to protect your loved ones. This is the energy that you take to bring into the bedroom on those nights that you tell your lady, your man, whoever it is you choose to be with, get ready because I'm coming for you. Mm-hmm. And that kind of fire, that primal, deep, powerful masculine energy. And so we use it in various different areas of our lives. And it's not just for the ring. We develop in the ring, we sharpen those tools so we can carry them forward and into our lives and utilize them in other ways that are necessary. And after we've sat and after we've allowed that imprinting to happen, after we've allowed that to really sit into our nervous system, like, okay, it's in, it's locked in, it's there. That tool, it's a little bit sharper now. And now we're going to soften the body. Now we're going to soften the hearts. Now we're going to take that zipper and just slowly bring it down, open up the heart, and now is when we talk. Now is when we open. And to have that dynamic of, now we're sitting in a circle where we talk about the trauma of our relationship with our fathers, the heartache of a breakup. Last night, we sat there while a brother spoke about his mom having just passed a couple weeks ago. And he hasn't spoken this to the group yet. It was his first time. And you could tell his heart was breaking, but he didn't know how to share that. He didn't know how to be comfortable and letting other people see that. And so I asked him to stand up, and we all put our hands on him, and I laid my head into the side of his, and every man had their hands on this man's body. And I just asked him, there's more. I said, is there more? And he expressed more heartache. And I said, brother, there's more. And he expressed even more. And he started to pull back and like kind of gather himself. And I said, do not, there's more. And I just kept feeling there was more to express. And he's like, well, I don't know what else is in there. I said, what is it? And I kind of clenched his chest. He's like, I'm fucking angry. And he just, and like at one moment, all of these men grabbed a hold of his body, and you could feel him trying to like rip out of our grasp. But he was able to scream, like the scream that bellowed from his chest, and the roar that came out of this man was a rage and an anger that he hadn't been able to express yet. He was fucking pissed. He lost his mom. To witness that, to witness someone's soul rip open before you, to witness them express the most raw and intimate and powerful and honest expression from the bottom of their fucking soul, and to be this close to them in that moment, we do this every other week. People have experiences like this at a retreat that changes the whole trajectory of their lives. There's that one moment where they're able to express themselves fully to that extent that just changed their lives. And they always go back to that one moment when they were able to be really fucking honest with themselves and someone else. And we do it every other week for 5 hours. It changes you. You begin to expect this level of connection, this level of depth, this level of honesty, this level of authenticity from the rest of the world. And I tell the brothers, we're here to rewrite the story of what it looks like to be a man. We're here to rewrite the story of what it looks like to be human. We're here to rewrite how men can engage with one another. You know, I had a brother one night that I got him in a certain angle and I turned him around. He tried escaping. I picked him up and I just bear hugged him, roaring like as I'm walking him out of the ring and I'm getting ready to throw him. And like I was in this, I felt like a, you know, like a silverback gorilla or something. I just felt like I had this very large man's body in my arms and I just was ready to just, and the second my foot hit that line, it was like this break. And I kissed him on the small, like the center of his back, right behind where his heart would have been. And he turns around and he's like, what the fuck? I love you, man. And I just touched my forehead to his, and it was this moment of like pure animal rage. And I'm throwing his body out of the ring, and the second that was complete, it was the sweetest kiss on his back, right behind his heart, to say I love you. And to be able to go to both of these places with these men, to be able to go into both ends of the spectrum together and do it on a regular basis, it's changing who and how we are. But we get to carry that forward now. We get to show up to our jobs, to our families, to our relationships, to our communities. You know, we constantly talk, like we give ourselves homework every week, like, okay, what can we carry from this experience? What from what we experienced tonight, this soul expanding, heart opening, mind blowing experience that we just had, this time that we created together, this fucking magic that we created together. How do we utilize it? What do we do with it? If we just keep it to ourselves as like this little beautiful nugget that we get to keep to ourselves, this little secret, this thing that we do with each other, then we're just helping ourselves. And that doesn't fit with that motto of learn to grow to serve. So if we expand, if we grow, if we evolve, if we become a better version of ourselves because of something we experience in that space, it's an opportunity, but it's our duty as journeymen to carry that forward. So I told him, you know, a few months back, I said, if you're a Boy Scout, like you're not just a Boy Scout when you're wearing your vest, when you got your badges on. If you're a Boy Scout, you carry those ideals for life. We're trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, it sounds like you're really consciously honing these tools. You know, I think of a yoga practice where people go and do asanas and practice this calmness that then shows up in their lifestyle.
Yeah.
And you're giving men permission to have their aggression, their fire inside them, which is in many ways you're going against the grain of society right now, which definitely feels like it's squelching the fire of men more and more and more. And you're finding a way to hone it, to let them have it, to feel it, to really be it in the most full expression and inside of a container that's safe, so that they can learn how to work with it and be with it. Not something that's scary because it was never accepted before. Now it's accepted. Now it's celebrated. Now it's something that you guys can really do and work with and become more of, and utilize this fire inside you as a tool to shape your lives and affect everybody around you for the better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that primal masculine fire, I always say it's like a tool. You know, I have a hammer, and this hammer in my hands, I can build you a home, or I can tear your home to pieces. I can come into your home and smash everything to bits. I can come in and obliterate the things that you love, or I can build something that you could love. And it's just a hammer, but it's what I choose to do with it. So my primal power, my primal aggression, my inner masculine fire, it's not inherently good or bad. It just is. It's what I choose to do with it. So there's the hyper masculine aggression, where the guys who are constantly walk around looking for a fight, the guys who do not speak from their heart first.
That's
the
most
guys
of society. I mean, that's most just like whether they're hyper masculine or a nerd, nobody's speaking from their heart.
Exactly. And so when you take that masculinity, but you don't have the heart coupled with it, sitting next to it, that hyper masculinity are the guys that you see sitting in their basements with dozens of guns and thousands of rounds of ammunition, just looking for somebody to kill, looking for the next excuse to show up and unleash on society. It's the guys who walk into a bar, they're just looking for someone, looking for an ass to kick. Or you have the man who walks into the bar. He might be the most well-equipped fighter in the room, but he's not looking for a fight. It's a strength, it's a tool, it's a power that he has in his back pocket. He doesn't use it unless he has to. He leads himself with confidence. He walks into the bar not looking for a fight, but ready for it if it comes. And I think there's that, I have to constantly yell from the mountaintop, I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a man. Here's my masculinity. And I think that's when people get rubbed the wrong way by it. It's when it's constantly thrown in the face. It's constantly yelled about or talked about. I gotta prove that I've got it. And a real man doesn't have to do that. A real man knows that he has a strong mind, a beautiful heart, a capable body, that he's balanced, and he knows when to access these certain components, these certain, archetypes. Like, we have a chant that we do at some of our meetings and some of our retreats, and it's, I'm a kind-minded, open-hearted, bad motherfucker. And I'm a kind-minded, open-hearted, bad motherfucker. I'm a kind-minded, open-hearted, bad motherfucker. I'm a kind-minded, open-hearted, bad motherfucker. And these guys just like, and you can see the adrenaline, you can see the wild in their eyes. And then we bring them back. Like, okay, your body's tingling, your whole body is buzzing right now. And in that moment, I want you to be able to pull it back, and I want you to give me your heart. And it's that precision to be able to go from one to the next that is the great man in my eyes.
I feel like one of the things that I don't know if you studied somatic therapies or work before, somatic psychology type stuff before, but it seems like it's just inherent in your understanding, because you're giving people this physical feeling of what it feels like to be able to be so angry and have that container, and that that somatic experience of being able to feel that expression, that literally changes neurological pathways and how cells are functioning. That changes biology in a really major way. And so much of what you're doing is practicing the body mind in these men's group, and you're really you're threading it. You're just threading it.
So by rewiring our experience, we get to rewrite the story of the masculine. You're gonna tell men it's okay to show up. It's okay to be strong. It's okay to be powerful. It's okay to be a force to be reckoned with. It's okay to be all those things. And it's okay to be tender and sweet and kind and emotionally intelligent and available and knowing when to be each.
You're also fostering leadership.
Yeah. So
big time.
That's been the beautiful, component of this. So it's been 3 years, every other week, without fail. COVID, we're meeting via Zoom. Got tired of Zoom? Okay, we're gonna meet outside in the cold, 6 feet apart from each other, trying to be respectful of the current times, but at the same time also knowing that we can't be apart from each other. Like, our love and affection and desire to be connected is so deep that we just couldn't be stopped. And so we're in that space together, and it's like, I see men now leading their own circles. I see men stepping into, larger roles in their communities. I see men developing communities. I see men moving into houses and moving roommates in and building gardens together. And you see these things happening because they're stronger. They believe in themselves. They're okay stepping in as a strong, empowered, embodied man. And that's a natural leader. And so I see these men kind of breaking out. But the beautiful thing is they still show up every other Wednesday. They still show up to our group. And I asked a couple of them, and I said, you're doing some big things now, and you're doing beautiful things outside of this. What has you still making space for this? And they're like, are you kidding me? This is the core. This is the center. This is the nucleus. This is where I get my power from. This is where I gain wisdom from. This is where I come back to recharge, to reboot, to expand. And then we go out, and then we break forward. And then we come back and we recharge, we reboot, we challenge each other, we hold each other accountable. You know, I've got a scar on my chest now, and people ask what it's from. And you know, the most awe-inspiring thing of doing this work is when I see an edge, I don't like to just walk to the edge. I like to run and dive off the edge and see what's out there. And these men over time have developed enough trust in me that they're willing to go there with me. And I knew that there were a number of us kind of holding back from why we're here. Holding back from like the biggest, fullest, most powerful expression of ourselves. And I also knew that not only were we not going there, but that I knew some of the things that were holding us back. So I showed up with these contracts one night, and it was, what do you desire most out of life? The second part is, what kind of work is necessary for you to get there? And the third component of it is, what are you willing to sacrifice? If you're just asking the universe, God, Holy Spirit, Great Spirit, whatever you believe in, for help, for assistance, for the dream to be handed to you, then you're treating that like a genie. You're just rubbing and asking for wishes. We have to be willing to sacrifice something to be able to receive in return, especially the big things. You want a healthy relationship with your girlfriend? Are you willing to give up porn? You want to become a better therapist or coach? Are you willing to give up alcohol and the cloud that comes with it? You want to be a stronger, physically healthier man that can attract a beautiful queen? Are you willing to give up the nightly ice cream or the early morning run to McDonald's? Like, what are you willing to sacrifice to get there? And at the bottom, there was a place for the men to sign. And the brothers asked, okay, well, how do we sign these? Well, we have two options. Here's a pen, sign it, or here's a knife. And a couple goes like, how do I sign with a fucking knife? And I said, well, you choose a part of your body, and then we draw the blood and we sign with that. And a room full of 15 men was just, okay. No hesitation. No, like, he is fucking mad.
No, let me think about this. Like, yeah, no, that makes sense. Let's do this now.
Okay, yeah, this makes sense. All right. We'll shut the lights off and we lit the candles and we brought out the drums. And each man spoke to these two candles we've had since the beginning of this work that we've been doing. And I'm going to continue to melt them in new candles. It's the flame that's been since the beginning with this group. Flame is in the center. We have a knife that was made by a brother in our group, deer handle with hand-forged steel. Knife over the flame. Speak your soul's contract. And then choose. We had a brother giving up masturbation and pornography. So he literally cut into the hand that he used for that. Me, my heart's desire to find my queen. And I have a scar on my chest now from that. And we're going to these edges, we're going to these places, and the men are doing it without question. They're doing it without hesitation because they've seen what happens when they do this work. They've seen what happens when they go all in. They've seen how their relationships, their jobs. I mean, we have men who were unemployed and didn't know what the fuck they were gonna do with their lives and work, and now they're making six figures and they have successful businesses. We have brothers who expanded their lives. You have men who've fallen into the deepest, most beautiful relationships they've ever experienced, and they see the rewards of doing the work. They see the benefits of doing the work. And so when I bring something fucking crazy to the table, more often than not, it's okay, we trust you, we love you, let's do this. And so to be with men who are unafraid to go to the edge and beyond, to be with men who are not only unafraid to do the work, but then to carry that work forward, who you know that when they leave that meeting, it's not done. It's not like, okay, that was a great experience, I'll see you in 2 weeks and forget about it. You know that this experience is going to affect the way that the next 2 weeks of their life goes. And when they come back, they'll have stories to tell. When they come back, you're gonna see a stronger, better, more dialed in, clearer, or just happier man. And so one of the brothers last night, it was his first meeting. And we vet people pretty heavily now before
What's
they
the
come in.
vetting process?
Usually a few hours of conversation with me around who are you, why are you coming in, what is your relationship to service? That's the big one. Learn to grow to serve. If you're not there for the end goal of serving these brothers and our greater community, then if you're just looking for support, hire a therapist. If you're looking to come in and be open and be vulnerable and be held accountable, but also stepping up and showing up for your brothers when they need it, then you're in. And so we dive into that. What is your philosophy around masculinity and what it means to be a man and all of those things? And if all of it aligns, then come on in. And this brother last night came to the meeting, and afterwards we were doing a check-in, and he just spoke to the group, and he just said, every man on the planet needs this. He's like, I don't know how we do it, but like the world needs this. Men need this. Like every man needs to be doing this work. Because in his first meeting, he watched men roaring. He watched our battle cry. He listened to us pounding our chest. He heard like the animals, leaping from every man's chest through those roars, through those growls. And then he watched men literally being held up off their feet while they wept and sobbed and poured their hearts out. He watched a man being held down while he had basically a fit of rage. And he watched another man crumble to the ground, and every man get out of their seats and meet him kneeling on the ground until he was able to stand, and they lifted him off the ground. And he's seen all this, and he's just like, holy fuck. Like, yeah, welcome to the journey, man. Hope that was a good first meeting for you. And what's fascinating is like you see people who come in to do this work and they're in awe, like, holy fuck, this exists. I've always dreamed of something like this. I've always desired something like this. Or I didn't know I needed it, but holy shit, like I know I need it now. Yeah. And they're in awe of the work that we're able to do. But what's fascinating is over time, like, oh yeah, that was just another Wednesday. And it's not that we're becoming numb to it or that I'm no longer affected by it. It's just become the way. It's just become, oh, this is my normal life.
Well, where are you growing then? How are you growing?
I had a client that I was working with a couple weeks ago, and I hit a moment of self-doubt where I was hitting that wall of like, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are to be standing here offering this kind of support to this person? And who do you think you are to have all the answers? Who the fuck do you think you are? And I think self-doubt is good when it's not constant. It shows that there's still humility. It shows that we're still questioning, which that questioning drives and motivates our desire to be better, to do more, to refine more. But in that moment of self-doubt, I closed my eyes, I took a big, deep breath, and I see my brothers. And I see one brother who's one of the sweetest, kindest men I've ever met, looking at me and just showering me with the most tender, deep-hearted, sweetest love imaginable. And I knew that he had my back. And then I saw another brother who sees the depth of who I am, who understands my power, who understands what I'm capable of, and is constantly in support of that, and pushing me, nudging me, and sometimes shoving me to get there. And I see other brothers, and I even hear my cynical brother saying, really, motherfucker? This again? And in that moment of self-doubt, when I felt weak, I felt like I was struggling, I just closed my eyes, and I saw their faces, and I felt them there. And the connections between these men are so profound and so deep, and our souls are so tightly tethered and wound together. And I talk about a grove of trees, and we are this grove of trees whose roots have intermingled, whose branches brush against one another, and we're this circle, this grove of trees that's standing the test of time, and we're going to be here for a long time. And in that moment of self-doubt, weakness, and questioning, I just closed my eyes and I felt them. And what I bring to the brothers from that experience is like, we're going to be stronger more solid, more connected, and more powerful than ever imaginable because of this connection. Continue to push me, continue to challenge me, continue to hold me accountable, and continue to love me. And that combination has done more for my soul.
Is there any last words or thoughts or homework or practices you want to share with the audience? Any takeaways that you want them to take home with them?
Yeah, it's not necessarily a cut and dry, black and white practice. It's just a challenge of being, a challenge to show up, a challenge to speak your truth boldly, to wear your beliefs proudly, to physically stand tall and proud when you walk in a room, to keep your chin up, to be unafraid to speak, to be unafraid to connect, to trust your feelings, to trust your intuitions, to connect with the people who you're drawn to connect with the people that your heart desires, to not be ashamed of what your body wants, to trust that this holding back is no longer serving. And that all the big, beautiful, amazing, powerful feelings and desires and the experiences that you really yearn for, you deserve. To stop hiding, to stop playing small. The world does not need that from us anymore. The world needs us to step up. The world needs us to play big. The world needs the full spectrum and expression of who we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, beloveds, for joining us for another episode of So Many Ways to Heal, where we explore ways of healing the body, mind, and soul to find wholeness, health, vitality, and to reveal your authentic self. If this content resonates with you, be sure to give it a like and subscribe, and share this video with your loved ones. Speaking of your loved ones, if you know of an amazing healer, teacher, or facilitator that would be a good fit for the show, or you know someone who has an amazing story of healing that will help inspire others, please connect us. You can find my email below, along with the links to YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. We know the best healing tool is love and gratitude, so I'm sending my love and gratitude to you.